Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Well, I'm glad you're here. This is going to be an unbelievable broadcast today because you know what? The whole world is shifting. It's shifting right before our very eyes. I mean, people cut the cable and go to dish, all right? Folks are totally changing how they watch television. People are changing how they work. They're changing how they shop. Forget going to the retail stores. Now they're doing. They're just ordering it and having it shipped to their home. Well, there's a whole lot more than that happening. It's a brand new world out there, and you got to stay on top of it. And so today, our guest is Robert Kudla. Robert Kudla from, of course, TradeLikeAGenius.com. He's even got a brand new website. Bob, welcome to the broadcast, and glad you're with us today.
Yeah, Paul, thank you. That was a great intro on your part. I think you understand completely there's a great reset upon the world, and micro and macro.
Yeah, I've heard of a global reset, and I think you're correct with this. Well, I know you are. We're going from Wall Street to Main Street again. I remember when Main Street went to Wall Street, it seemed like we just, the people who were not in Wall Street didn't know what to do. So there's a shift from Wall Street to Main Street, the globalists to self-reliance. I mean, what's taking place here, Bob? Is this a revolution?
Yeah, it's actually an end of basically the monetary setup for World War II is ending, Paul. And so there's no easy answers. The counterfeiters now can't counterfeit without causing great dislocation around the world. So what you're going to see happen is that we can no longer afford as a nation, Trump's banging the drum hard on NATO saying, hey, you got to take more accountability for your defense. He's been banging on Saudi Arabia saying, hey, we're not going to protect your oil fields unless you pay up. And we just can't afford to be a stretched empire without it imploding our country. The other side of it is on the trade side. And Trump's banging on that drum, too. He's like, hey, guys, look, we can no longer allow your nations to parasitically suck our consumers dry. And I know it benefited Wall Street immensely by indebting the entire country so that they can gorge on the profits. At the same time, they've hollowed out the entire nation, almost sight unseen, because the left and the right coast never really saw the pain the rest of the nation has done. Well, that's ending too. And the other thing that's ending with that is that we've had plenty of years of plenty. How about that for a tongue twister word there? Plenty of plenty. On the food front, we've had the Green Revolution. We've had basically all arable land around the world has been now used. We've had the genetic or the GMO, either the miracle or the curse, depending on how you feel about it, or even both. And we've had a benign climate and environment, and that's changing. And so what we're seeing here, and then also, like I talking about the currencies, is that we have all unpayable debt now, Paul. It's all unpayable. Whatever they're telling people, it's not true. Even President Trump saying, hey, we'll figure this out. You can't figure it out. The debt is geometric, and we're in an arithmetic world. And at some point, it all resets. And it usually resets every generation. And so now you have, what I say is banks are becoming obsolete with the technology. No matter what people feel about cryptos, and the banks are scared to death of cryptocurrencies. The guy in charge of the BIS is basically saying, stop making your own currency, people, as if he has the monopoly on how people should transact their life, and for you're some dude in Austria, you're going to have a monopoly on the money so that you can continue to steal from people. All that's changing. So, our view at Trade Genius has been like, look, you got to look for things that are going from banks to blockchain or crypto. You got to go from the FANG stocks, social media, which is a curse upon our nation in many ways, to back to commodities and hard assets. You're going to go from trade-related companies to now domestic related companies, and you're going to go from basically fake to real, and that's what's happening, and that's what we're seeing on the macro level, and you can see it on the micro level, Paul. You laid those things out perfectly on the opening of your monologue. Is that, look, the American people are smart, and they're saying, hey, I don't want to pay these middlemen for things if technology allows me to cut my costs or give me more convenience. And I think we're going to see it on the macro side too.
You know, it's a tremendous shift of change in our whole lives. But we're going back to basics with new technology. It's kind of wild because when you think about it, Bob, we're going back to, I remember when companies launched IPOs into the market, it was based on performance and profitability and potential. But you had to be already been in business, been performing, been profitable, and even had potential of growth. Then all of a sudden there come a day where it was people launched IPOs. They had no profits. They were not producing anything. They was just purely on possibility or potential. It was the dot-com age. And then we moved into this, everything, the whole world's economy was all around Wall Street, and it wasn't about the meat and taters, if you will. Now what you're saying is we're going back to basics. We're going back to Main Street. The farmers who have been taking it on the chin for so long, there's going to be some relief. The factory worker who was left in the cold, the plants are coming back. The coal worker's not going to get shut down like Angela Merkel did all of her coal plants and her coal industry in Germany. We're going to bring it back. So what you're saying is it's goodbye to fake money, hello new money. Goodbye, old way of doing business, but here's a new way. Yet we're going back to old values. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and it's part of it is because we have to, and part of it is because now, one of the great things about technology, it allows us all to bypass what I call the parasites. The gatekeepers, the river toll takers of the Middle Ages. All those guys are now getting circumvented. And it's a wonderful thing. I tell people all the time, 10, 15 years ago, I told people, I said, look, when I was an executive at the corporation, I said, you want to have job security? Then you need to be facing a customer, okay? And you need to be accountable. That means like, hey, I want to be in sales. I want to be in marketing. I want to be a frontline customer service person. Because if you're back office, you're going to be outsourced. If you couldn't be rated by metrics, they'll lay you off because they're not sure of value you take. Right. Now we're going to the next level, Paul, whereas that if you are a producer, you get to control your value chain versus some intermediary who has control over the gateway of communication, and they're the ones that take it. And look, and the social media companies are a classic example of that. And you know what? And they provided value, so I don't want to be pejorative on them. They've done tremendous things. Some evil things are happening around it, but they allowed this technology to happen. At the same time, it's going to cause their own demise because now people are like saying, you know what? I'm on social media all day. Why should Mark Zuckerberg become a multi-billionaire when he's leaning on my information when all he's doing is aggregating it? And the same with a farmer. The farmer sits back and the gold miner sits back and the silver miner sits back and says, wait a minute, why does JP Morgan get to control the price of silver? Because they've been given basically a monopoly on what the price of silver should be. So they keep underpricing it, forcing me to sell at a lower price so I can stay in business. And that's going to change, Paul, because that's where the blockchain and that cryptocurrency, people are saying, Bob, what's the value of the cryptocurrency? It's that it's going to be the mechanism that's going to eliminate the people that shouldn't be in the middle of transactions. They won't be in the middle of them. You can't sell things, they call it naked shorting, Paul. You sell something you don't own. If you and I sold something we don't own, guess where we end up? In jail.
Right.
These guys get to sell stuff they don't own all day long, and they get to suppress the price because they're acting out. They're making a profit off of national policy decisions. Well, the technology is not going to allow them to continue doing that. So farmers are going to be able to band together, almost like a co-op, but it's at another level, where they're saying, we're only going to sell into this exchange that has blockchain technology, the gold and silver mine. Anybody who produces are going to be able to do that. You know, the musicians, the book writers, you know, people like you and I who make our living doing this stuff, we get to now say we have value and we add value to people's lives. We should get paid. Why should YouTube only one that gets paid here? Why should Facebook the only one that gets paid here? So all that's changing. And just think, anybody who sits in the middle of a transaction, why does a real estate agent get 6%? All they're doing is coming to your house and sitting there and filling out paperwork. So why is an escrow company? Why is a title company? Why are all these people getting paid so much money when all they're doing is pulling data out that already exists? Same with lawyers. All this is going to change. Same with doctors, unless you're a specialist. All that's going to change. AI, blockchain, robotics, you know, the technology of the consumer and the awareness of the consumer, all that's changing, Paul. We're going to go in for a really volatile time, but it's going to be an absolutely incredible time to be alive.
Folks, this is Bob Kudla. Bob Kudla with us. He's with TradeLikeAGenius.com. Brand new website. They just launched it this month. TradeLikeAGenius.com. And the reason they can say that is because that's what he does. He trains you with different types of programs. He could take a common person, a guy like me, just a little preacher from the cornfields of Indiana. He could probably transform me into a trader. Certainly could you. I know he could you. And he's got summer specials available right now. So go to his website, TradeLikeAGenius.com. Find out what programs he has and pick the summer special that's right for you and get started. I think it's a way. Get in control. What I'm hearing you say, Bob, is the producers. And what do we mean by that? The people where the rubber meets the road, where the product's actually made, can start being in control of their own destiny. My cousin, she etches glass. She's an artist who etches glass. She's phenomenal at it. Incredible pieces. But all her life, she's had this tremendous talent and no way to really to bring it forward. Living in a little town of 1,500 people, she had a little store. Who's going to go there? How's she going to get her pieces out there? But now with the internet, she's launching, and now her business has exploded. Why? Because she has value and she has a way to present it to the masses. And that's what you're saying. I heard you say doctors. I've often wondered, why isn't a doctor... If I'm not a doctor, if I was a doctor, I'd be on the internet and I'd have 1,000 patients. They would be everywhere, online, Skyping. I'd have techs reading x-rays everywhere. In other words, what I'm saying is, I don't think we really understand the potential of what's laying out ahead of us, do we?
Yeah, and doctors in some of these professions that have these guilds, they've done their best, and I'm not disparaging doctors or anything like that.
Right.
It's just that you have to add value anymore. And I'll give you an example in a second. A real life one that just happened to my wife and I is that you have to add value. If you're just parroting information that's already available, then that has no value that people have to pay for. And so you're starting to see that happen. Actually, they're starting to allow nurses to do things that pediatricians or general practice doctors do. They're starting to allow PAs. In fact, we have a really good friend who's a pediatrician for a long time. He's saying some of these PAs, these are physician assistants, make as much as he does. He's too old now to become a specialist. He's ready to retire. But he's saying, hey, these physician's assistants are making as much money as I do because they don't have to carry some of the regulatory burden that I do as a doctor. And then you have the vets. And this is a really interesting story. So my wife has a business which she deals with dogs and cats and things of that nature. And it was over a weekend, we had a dog that ate something that we weren't sure he should have eaten. And so it was early in the morning. So all I did was go online and you could just talk to a vet. And if I would have went into a vet, it would have cost me between $45 and $65. And we just did dial a vet and we spent $28. He diagnosed the situation. He told us what to do. Everything turned out just fine. And, he made great money because he spent 10 minutes with me and made $28. we're happy because we saved half the amount of money that we would have, and we didn't have to go anywhere. And so that's the power that I'm talking about, not only just with technology, but, that was probably something he's probably heard 1,000 times. And we were able to, it was absolutely worth me spending $28 to resolve the issue. And so just multiply that by every industry. And I think that's going to happen is people are going to put more and more pressure. Look, you cannot be paying these healthcare increases on an ongoing basis like this. It's breaking down. And the same with universities. That is the next area that's going to get blown up, Paul, because you cannot have people spending $160,000 on a general bachelor degree and end up having a $35,000 a year job working in retail. That you can't pay the loan back. And so you're going to see, I think, an incredible change there as well. The reason why these things still exist is because the government is protecting them. And it's just going to take constant pressure from the people that's going to change things. So we're very powerful. We need to have our voices raised, and we need to force the change that we want. And all this is good change. It's not getting in the street and being these crazy leftist kind of things. These are things that are saying, hey, this is good for the country. This is going to raise velocity. This is going to raise tax revenues because we're going to grow things at a higher level. I mean, it's exciting stuff. And yeah, there's going to be people that are going to be on the short end of that stick, but you have to reinvent yourself and move on.
This is great information. President Trump, he's really he's kind of like the catalyst of a lot of this in some ways. He goes to NATO and he looks right at him and says, look, you guys aren't paying your fair share. Everybody agreed to pay 2% or so across the board. America's been paying 3.6% of our GDP to protect the NATO countries. You guys have been shortchanging us for decades. And then he looks right at Germany, looks right at Merkel and says, why should I protect you? You're already captive. Russia owns you. You shut down your nuclear plants. You shut down your coal plants, your electrical coal plants, and you're buying 70% of all of your energy, natural gas and oil from Russia. And then you want me to come over and protect you from an invasion from Russia? You've already been invaded. You've already given it away. So I think he's looking right at the world leaders and saying, it's time to pony up. It's time to pick it up. It's time to step it up. You guys are going to pay your fair share. America's done with that. And these little moves, these shifts might be uncomfortable in the world market, and the left-wing liberal media cries and whines. But at the end of the day, isn't this going to help the American economy, Bob?
Without a doubt. I mean, President Trump has been saying this since he was 30 years old. They've uncovered interviews he did with David Letterman. We talked about this exact same stuff, and the only thing you replaced was China with Japan, because China wasn't really a power to speak of back then. And he says the same things. Look, we could do a show just on how Europe has stolen from America since World War II. I mean, they force us to basically cover all the overhead costs of pharmaceuticals, okay? They make us defend them. Look, every war that's been fought in the Middle East we're fighting on behalf of European interests, so they can protect their energy fields. They create a VAT system that then when they do trade with us, we have a social security system, and so our companies are at a disadvantage when they look at trade parity, and the other thing is, it was a brilliant thing I had in my head, and I just lost it for a second. But they also they're the European Union. I mean, the European Central Bank. This is clever in its deviousness. So what they do is they buy the corporate bonds of companies that are buying out our companies. So they'll have a company like Siemens, right? And Siemens is going to buy out, one of our electrical energy companies, right? One of our engineering companies. What they do is the ECB will say to them, hey, to one of their banks, you go ahead and you you fund that through your bond offering to that company. We'll buy those bonds off of you at below market prices. So they're able to steal our companies using their central banks. And China does the same darn thing, and so does Japan. And so that's why Trump's out there. Trump's not an idiot. He's been out there forever doing this. And he doesn't care if people like him. He's happy to be the lightning rod. And most people don't even know that that's what's happening to them.
No.
I mean, these people are just using counterfeit currencies to basically steal our natural resources, our talent in our country, and basically, leave us like the Carthaginians after Rome got done with them in the Punic Wars.
I mean, it's just unbelievable what we're witnessing. A revolution. There's a revolution going on. I think the global elitists were at the 1 yard line. They were about ready to take the ball into the end zone. Hillary was supposed to win the election, and this was it. The global elitism was going to happen. The New World Order, okay? The biblical beast in the Bible. It was going to happen, but wait a minute. Now there's a total change. Look at the Brexit thing. Okay, 2 years ago, the people in the United Kingdom, they rose up and said, get us out of the EU. This is insane. But it's been 2 years, Bob, and they're still entangled in there. And Theresa May's government is in trouble. Boris Johnson, he said, I'm out of this. I'll just let me in charge. I can fix it. Trump's over there for the next 4 days, staring the London mayor in the face saying, get out of my way. We're here to fix Europe. We're here to fix the whole situation. And then he's going to go see Putin. I mean, don't you think that what's going on here, it's truly a revolution? We're going from Wall Street to Main Street, old globalists to self-reliance. We're going from fake money to new money, from old banks to cryptos. Technology's taken over, and your company, TradeLikeAGenius.com, you guys have been out ahead of this as well. You've been, look at that, stock market's up 224 points. I thought the trade war was going to tank the market. Ever since he put the midnight madness of tariffs, the market started to climb back up. I mean, what does this all mean, Bob?
Yeah, I just laugh when people say it's going to. I said, people, you just don't understand. How can you lose a trade war when you started at zero?
I mean, right.
I just laugh. I'm like, I mean, this is how stupid people think we are. And every time he did trade talk, the stock market pushed up because people understand. They're like, okay, that means more jobs are coming into the country. That means more Social Security revenue coming in. That means they don't have to sell their bonds. That means our interest rates will stay lower. I mean, people just don't think past the next point in the conversation, Paul. But that's what we do. I mean, look, my background's been strategic planning my whole life, mergers and acquisitions. I had to look 10 years ahead. And you need to see what's coming next, because what is here now is what they're selling to you. When Wall Street is selling something, or pitching something, they're trying to get rid of it. So what you want to do is you want to get in stuff that they haven't yet gotten into,
right? And
you want to push forward. And these are the themes that we've been banging on. And you and I talked about them in different forms here for the last almost 2 years now, Paul. And it's coming to fruition. That's why you have to look at it. And now, with the trade coming down, people are always saying to me, why is our dollar so strong? Remember how everybody said our dollar's going to crash? Trump needs to do this, Trump needs to do that because our dollar's going to crash, and our dollar keeps getting stronger and stronger because people fundamentally do not understand how currencies work. Around the world, people have dollar debts everywhere. There is a dollar shortage. People don't realize there's two kinds of dollars out there. There's the physical dollar, the cash dollar, the digital dollar that's sitting in the bank, and then there's what's called the credit dollar. That's the dollar that would evoked into existence when someone took out a loan. And so there's loans all over the world that are denominated in dollars. And as the dollar goes up against their currencies, they have to close those loans, Paul, and then they need the real dollar, the digital dollar, the cash dollar that's sitting in somebody's safe. And that's what's driving the price of the dollar higher. And at the end of the day, all the other currencies are going to suffer before the dollar suffers. And forget China. If anybody that's listening today is saying China's going to be the next hit, China's not the next hit. China's older than we are. They're in more debt than we are. They're totalitarian. They can't feed their people. They can't energize their people. They they're dependent on very long supply lines. One of them goes all the way through some countries that are Muslim, and Chinese are persecuting Muslims in their land, and the rest of it has to go by India, no friend to China. Go through Singapore, Malaysia, no friend to China, and so they're very, very vulnerable. And then they have Japan sitting off their east coast, and so America is where it's going to be, whether people like to hear it or hate to hear it. It's just going to be that way. And as the dollar strengthens, more money is flowing into this country. More people are going to be buying this stock market. Now, I'm not saying the stock market may not take some pretty whacks here, because it might. Things are going to get more volatile for people. It's actually going to become a trader's market again, Paul. But make no mistake, money's coming here first. And we're going to be the one-eyed giant in the land of the blind, and we're the last to fall before everything gets reset. So that's what we're telling people. Look, you got to start moving away from these social media, these FANG stocks, and you got to start thinking about getting into, the rare earth companies, the copper, the steel, the gold, the silver miners. Those companies. Get into the high-end manufacturing companies that are here. Look at GE. GE got pounded down into dust, Paul.
Yeah.
GE is a screaming buy right now for people who want to have a solid company to put in their portfolio long term. Nobody's talking about GE because they're out there buying Amazon. That's the world's largest flea market. And and the other thing is, people are going to start consuming less. Look, as we get older, we don't need to buy as many things. And so what's going to happen is, that's the other shift, Paul. We're going to go from consuming to saving.
Okay, because you're looking at
all these things are going to change.
Yeah, because you're looking at a lot of things, folks. This is Bob Kudlin. Notice what he's saying here. The baby boomers, which I'm part of the baby boomers. I was born in 1961, so I'm like the last of the baby boomers. The baby boomers are going to get older. And that's a ton of people. You have to understand, that is a ton of people in this country. And when they get older, they quit buying and they start saving. And it start changing their habits. And that's going to be a massive shift in the markets. And so that's your point. You got to stay out ahead of the curve. And if you guys go to his website, go tradelikeagenius.com, tradelikeagenius.com. Bob will help walk you through it. Call his number, 310-595-8626. Again, that phone number, 310-595-8626. He's on the West Coast, so you can call late in the evening after you get home from work and you're sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Think about it. Start thinking about your future. Start thinking about what you're going to do, because a couple things are involved. My job is to get you to Jesus Christ, get you saved, get your soul right, get your family oriented, get you on the right path. But at the same time, I'm not, if your car breaks down, I'm not the guy that's going to fix the engine, okay? I'm the wrong guy. You don't want me on that thing. And if you want to start looking at whether or not you could become a trader, a small trader, just learning a little bit, Bob, you would help them, wouldn't you? I mean, you'll help them understand what, you start talking about energy stocks, you talk about gold, silver, copper. So you, in these programs, do you teach them how to do that to where they can start to play very slow? Because I looked at your numbers. You're up 600% for the month of June, when there was 9 straight days the market lost money. What's going on here?
Yeah, so what we do, Paul, is that, first of all, just for everybody who don't really know who we are, is that, we educate people on learning how to trade. I mean, from the very beginning, how to set up your charts, how to trade, when to look for a buy, when to look for a sell. We if people are interested in options, we show them how they can trade options, where you can actually use less money to make more money. People that are interested in cryptocurrencies, my partner's been in it from the very beginning. Started in 2011. He was a miner. Nobody knows that business better than he does. For people with small accounts, there's a thing out there called binary options. And so what we do is that we applied, I've been trading since 1991. So we've applied our learnings, and we've made mathematical constructs of that, and we created buy and sell signals, Paul. And we don't screw around with any penny stocks. We don't do any of these exotic things. We're looking at mom and pop, bread and butter, well-known names, and we just tell people, this is where you buy it, this is where you sell it. This is where you buy it, this is where you sell it. If you're interested in options, we tell you this is where you should take that trade, this is where you should get off of that trade. And that's how we make people money. Our stocks are 70% winners. Our option trades are almost 90% winners. And we just do it, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. This last week, the first week in July, in the stock thing, we had 11 out of 11 winners.
Wow.
And then the option side is that we've been trading with the SPY. It's been going up and down like a metronome. And so we help people that want to trade every day, and we help people that want to trade every week. And we just closed 2 really long-term trades. People are saying, oh, the gold miners, silver miners aren't doing anything. We just closed two trades that were 50% winners. We just closed a technology stock that was 29% winner. And I just closed an energy stock that we made 7% in 2 days. So this is how we help people make that kind of money. And it's consistent. Long term, options you can make about 100% a year on your trades. And in the stock market, consistently 30, 40%, you can just have gains all day long. And we just keep you in the right things, and we keep you moving forward. Cryptocurrencies last year were up 400%. This year we had 3 100% winners already. Cryptocurrencies are not dead, and Wall Street is positioning themselves to get in front of that train before it runs them over. And so you're gonna hear a lot from Bitcoin. Litecoin just yesterday bought a bank, Paul. So these guys are not going away. There's a company called Square out there that is a bank that's incorporating cryptocurrencies into their business model. That company went up 50% after they did that, and they've maintained it. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. We love to help you. We have a fantastic community. I'm in there every day. And my partner, Phil, on the crypto side, he's in there every day. And we're there helping people. We're answering questions. We're telling them, when they're drifting off the right path, we're like, hey, I don't know if you want to take that trade. We're not in it. We're not in it for quick flips. We're in it for people grind away, make money, build wealth, take care of their families, and also just give people confidence. The reason why I did this in the first place is people were lost after '08 and they didn't know what to do. And so we want to give people confidence that, hey, you can do this on your own someday, and you'll be able to take care of your family. A lot of people were tired, a couple extra hours a day on their hands, need to earn a little extra money. Hey, we're there for you. A lot of young kids, I don't even know if I can get a job. I have a little bit saved up, but let us help you build that portfolio up so that you can start building some wealth and accumulating some assets for yourself as you get older so you can take care of your family. And that's our genesis behind it, and that's what we do. We have a lot of passion for it, and we're very transparent, and we love people to check it out. We make money for people nearly every day in the market.
Folks, tradelikeagenius.com, tradelikeagenius.com. Bob Kudla. Bob, this has been a very educational broadcast. I mean, I'll have to go back and re-listen to this again and take notes again to try to figure out. There was so many golden nuggets in this conversation. It was incredible. But you're out ahead of it. You're letting people know there's a shift going on, and it's taking place in almost every industry. And because there's new technologies, new way of thinking, new political shifting, the Trump train is rolling, and we'll just see how this plays out. And so again, guys, give them a call at 310-595-8626, or go to their website, brand new website, tradelikeagenius.com. Use the promo code Begley. Let them know that we send them in that direction. Christian company. Bob's a good Christian. He loves the Lord, and he's got a great family and treats people right. Bob, it's a pleasure having you on the show today.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Thank you for everybody listening. Have a great day.
God bless. All right, folks, that's Bob Kudla, tradelikeagenius.com, and we'll be back next time right here